Thanks, Sudarshan, for the kind introduction, and thanks to organizer for giving me this opportunity. And just a small brief commercial here. So as Sudarshan said, just joined IIT Gandhinagar. It's a newly establishing institute in the country, and we are very aggressively looking for faculty members as well as the students. So if you have any kind of questions, query about this place, please feel free to discuss with me, and I'll be more than happy to help you out. And I'll be glad if you can spread some of these words to your friends and your social networks. Okay? Yeah. All right. So today I'm going to talk about stuff related to mechanism design and incentive design. How do you do design of incentives for crowd network? So like there is a big crowd, and then you want to behave the crowd in certain way in order to achieve certain goal, right? Then what kind of incentive structure you should overlay so as the desired goal gets achieved? Let's start with motivation. So so this is the problem setting. Given the time is very less, let me quickly jump into the what is the problem I'm going to talk about. So the problem setting is that how should we incentivize people to seek their participation in executing certain time critical geospatial scanning operations, right? And why geospatial scanning operations are important? Because there are many real life scenarios. For example, search and rescue missions. Many of you might be knowing the terrorist attack in Mumbai, right? Attack 26/11, we cannot forget that. So all these terrorists were running around in the city of Mumbai, and thus they were taking different routes, and police were had no clue which location at this point in time the terrorists are actually, right? They spread themselves actually, right? So similarly, if there is some kind of a disease which is spreading, if you get to know in a timely manner, right, something can be done rather than waiting for too long until you get to know, right? So like that, there are many other motivation by which you may want to scan a large geographic area in as quickly possible, as short a time as possible, right? So how can you do that actually? So one possibility is we take help of crowd network or help of society, help of the people who are spread across the entire geographic area. Okay? So what do we need to do? In order to achieve any such kind of mission, we need to have two things. One thing is we need to recruit people. Somehow there has to be some mechanism by which we invite people to participate in our scanning operation, geographic area scanning operation, right? And also we encourage participants to put in serious effort to accomplish the portion of the overall task. For example, if it is detection of terrorists, right? Suppose, just giving an example, let's say we know that terrorists have hidden in certain big geographic area, and we don't know which location they are actually, right? So at this point in time, but we need to respond to it in a very quick manner. So first thing is that we recruit the people, we recruit our friends and colleagues as much as possible to help us execute this mission. Number one. Number two is that each one of them should put in serious effort to, let's say, scan their local area, right? And communicate it back, okay? So a properly designed incentive scheme can make the whole mission quite successful, right? And however, how do you design the incentive can make the entire thing either the fail or a huge success. I'll give you one very important example, which is, which was the project by DARPA. This is called DARPA Red Balloon Challenge. I don't know how many of you have heard. It was a very, very, very well thought experiment designed by DARPA in the year of 2009. And what was the setup? So the challenge was like this. There were some 10, red weather balloon, which was, put at 10 different locations across the continental US. Okay, and nobody knew where these locations are. And finally, the challenge was whoever locates all of them first will get a reward of $40,000. That was the challenge. All right. Okay. So now, how can you do that? Balloons are spread across the continental USA. Okay. And suppose if you want to participate in this challenge, it's impossible for any individual to travel to all the places and scan the entire area, right? So what's the way? And of course, there is a time critical competition, because if you are not first, if you are the second, you won't get any money, right? So your goal is not to just spot them in as quickly as possible, as shortest time as possible, right? So what suggests is the crowdsourcing with the help of some modern technology seems to be an approach. And in fact, that was the intent and motivation. That's what DARPA says, actually. They wanted to see how can these communications and social networks, which are emerging in today's time, how these technologies can be harnessed together in order to address such kind of, very important problems which we may encounter in society time to time, right? That was the motivation behind designing such a thought experiment. So let me tell you what was the, how did it pan out and what was the solution actually. So there was a team from MIT Media Lab who was the winning entry for this competition, and what was their idea? So this is how they did actually. So what they did is they efficiently harnessed the collective intelligence and collaborative effort of a social network, and they came up with something called geometric reward mechanism, decreasing from leaf node to the root. And this is how the scheme looks like actually, okay? So suppose, initially, they recruit few people, okay? Let's say Alice is recruited to execute this mission. Now, Alice can recruit further his friends actually. Alice can send the request to his friends to get recruited in this mission, right? Then the friend can further send the request to another friend to get recruited and so forth. And each one of them, depending on whatever city or whatever is, nearby city they are staying in, they can go around, search around, and these balloons, if they spot, they can just communicate it back all the way up to this chain actually, right? So the idea was this. Suppose if this is the team which first spotted all the 10 balloons at right locations, then the reward scheme will be like this. The person who gave the message about a red balloon, which was, suppose it's a true location, that person is given $2,000. There are total of, 10 red balloon, and total reward money is 40,000. So suppose if one red balloon gets spotted by this person, Dave gets $2,000. The person who recruited Dave gets $1,000, who is Carol here. Then the Bob, who eventually, gets the $500, who indeed recruited Carol. Like that, this scheme goes on, right? So can you see the interesting thing about this scheme actually? So suppose if this particular chain, this we call as a winning chain, okay? Starting from root all the way up to Dave, because this is the path where everybody is getting the money as per this scheme. This is called geometric reward scheme of MIT. The one scheme which they use actually, right? This need not be the only scheme. So in this, what happens is no matter how long the chain is, you can just see that because of the geometric series, the total amount of money which they will end up paying across this chain will not exceed more than $4,000 actually. And because there are 10 balloons, so the total amount of money will be well within the budget, which is the reward money of $40,000 actually. Make sense? And what is another beauty of this scheme? The beauty of this scheme is the person has both kind of incentive. One is, if I expand the network, if I help expanding the network, then also I get the money. And if I put in effort myself, then also I get the money. But the clever trick is that you should, see here the pendulum is more swing towards the putting the effort. What if suppose everybody wants to become a free rider, says I'll just hire somebody and then keep quiet. Then I won't do the field work, and again that's it. I'll just enjoy the fruit and somebody will spot the balloon. But if everybody starts thinking like that, then nothing will move, right? Actually, you see the point? So it's also equally important for any such incentive scheme which not only encourages people to expand the network, bring more people to join the network, but also to put the effort to search operations or rescue operation, whatever the task which has to be executed. And that's why the more money is given to the leaf node, okay? So that was the scheme. But, so by the way, this paper appeared in Science, and very well-cited paper, but there is a serious issue with this scheme actually, okay? If you can think little bit, okay? There is a problem with this scheme actually. People can manipulate this scheme. If I were the one, if I am the one who would have recruited, suppose I am Carol actually, okay, and I know that Dave reported to me that he found the balloon, okay? Sorry? Very good. That is one attack. There are several such possible manipulations. I am going to come to that. So these schemes, I can manipulate and earn much more money than what in this simplistic situation I have shown. So the problem, what I'm going to talk about in my talk today is, can we come up with some kind of incentive schemes which are, foolproof from such kind of attacks? These are called strategic attacks by the players actually. Okay, so I'm going to come to that. This was, yeah. All right, so so human participants are always strategic and they can manipulate the system. So the two major problems with incentivizing mechanism for this atomic task over the social network, which we are calling as atomic task. Spotting the balloon is an atomic task. There are two kinds of attacks possible. One is called Sybil attack, another is called node collapse attack, actually. Let me tell you what are these two. So this is Sybil attack. What is Sybil attack? Node can manipulate by multiplying their identity, okay, and creating clones or fake nodes below themselves. For example, look at this simple picture. Again, we are back to the original picture. Dave spotted the balloon, and Carol is the one who hired this person, Dave. Okay, so in the ideal scenario, this is how the reward should have been distributed. But what if Carol, she is Carol, let us say, okay, she fakely hires two more nodes actually. She just fakes that this is the person, it's a dummy identity, I hired that person, and again she says that this node again hired this node, and then she says that, okay, now I hired Dave, let us say. Now look at the reward distributions as per this chain, right? What happens? Now, in the previous picture, if you look, she was getting $1,000. Now here, $1,000 is this plus $750. Okay, so she gets an additional $750 by creating fake identities actually in that scheme, right? This is called Sybil attack actually, right? And this is not good. Why it is not good? Because it increases the expenditure of the task owner, first of all, number one. Number two is that it reduces the reward of the ancestor of the Sybil creating nodes. For example, unnecessary, for example, Bob, right? Bob unnecessarily loses for his no fault of him actually, right? He's now getting less money as compared to the previous scenario where he was getting 500, but here this poor fellow gets now 125 actually for no fault of his, right? That's another problem actually. So these are called fairness issues in network actually. Before we get into that, let me tell you another problem with such schemes. It's called node collapse attack actually. What is node collapse attack? So the node collapse attacks works like this. Let's look at all these three people, Bob, Carol, and Dave, okay? What if these three people wants to collude together actually? See, in the previous case, imagine that they don't know each other. But let's say they know each other, suppose, somehow. And they want to collude together actually, okay? So how will they collude? So before collusion, let's say that total amount of reward jointly which they are getting at this point in time is this much money, right? So, okay, no, before that, before I want to go there, I would like to say that suppose somebody may argue, if instead of bottom, why don't I do the top down actually? Because then, if I do the top down, then what happens actually, right? Suppose in the bottom up scheme, there was a problem of Sybil attack actually. If I do the top down, I pay the highest money to the root and then one half to the next guy, next guy, next guy. Is it somewhat better actually? Does it help me? But the question is that the top down scheme, if you go, that has another problem, which is called this node collapse attack, okay? And in this node collapse attack, what happens is, suppose if you did top down, where let us say T is the length of, this winning chain, and D is the depth of the node. So the depth is 0, 1, 2, 3, and the T is the total 4 nodes, so the length of the winning chain is 4. And the way you are distributing the reward is, let's say $4,000 divided by 2 power D plus T, so that you want to make sure that on any winning chain, you don't give more than 4,000, let's say. This is one possible scheme, subject to constant. So then what you can say is, in this scheme, in this top-down scheme, the total sum of their payment is 4,000 and times this factor actually, right? But if they collude together, and if they form one single node, right? So all of these three people have now formed one single node, pretending that they are the one single entity, and now they are reporting that we have found the balloon actually, okay? In this case, what would happen is, if the winning chain length will be only 2, right? And they will be at the depth 1, so the total reward which they will receive is 4,000 divided by 2 power 3. So any reasonable top-down scheme if you take, right? Any reasonable, it's a bit loaded sentence, but for the time being, let's trust me that this is one reasonable scheme where you take this geometrically decreasing from top to bottom. That has a problem of node collapse attack actually, right? So the problem becomes is this is a design problem. So essentially, how should I set up my rule of the game in terms of giving the rewards to such people, everybody, so that they are encouraged to participate, they are encouraged to search, and again, they don't do all kinds of these games actually. They don't game the system, right? That's the objective of this work, right? Okay. So now, node collapse is again undesirable because cost is more to the planner. It increases the cost to the planner. And sharing of this surplus could lead to the bargaining among the agents, okay? How do they surplus? How do they share? And it also hides the structure of the actual social network. See, mind you that in the previous case, now the social planner sees only this as the social network, assuming that this is the network, whereas there is the actual network is little more than that. This is the actual network actually. And what happens in many of these operations, the hidden agenda is you not only want to see the success of such a scheme, but also want to learn the structure of the network, which you can use for subsequent purposes, let us say. So that also purpose gets defeated actually, right? Okay, so now we come up with some kind of, problem of designing the incentive scheme, which is foolproof from some of these problems. We wouldn't say that it can safeguard you from all the problem, but some of the problem. And let's write down what are the desirable property of any such good incentive scheme in such kind of problem. One scheme we call it a downward Siebel proofness, okay? Another we call it a collapse proofness. So what is DSP property? It says that if you given at the depth k of a node in a recruitment tree, the reward mechanism R is downward Siebel proof if the node cannot gain by adding the fake nodes below itself to the current subtree, which means, let's say RKT, T corresponds to the length of the winning chain, K is the position of the node, any node who is deliberating over adding the fake nodes below it, that is the position ID, position index, and this is the reward, right, in any scheme. So that scheme, if he thinks that let me add few more nodes beneath me, then it will increase the length of the chain by n. Suppose he adds the n such fake nodes below it. So the total length of the new chain will become t plus n, and his sum of the additional, this will be the new reward, right? Because from each of the fake node he is getting the reward. So this should not be more than this, then you call that it's a Siebel proof. I'm not gaining by adding the fake node. That's the one desirable property, right? Whether it's possible or not, we'll see to that, but this is how mathematically we can write actually. Second thing is collapse proofness. So given at depth k of a winning chain, a reward mechanism is called collapse proof if the users in the subchain of length p lying beneath k collectively cannot gain by collapsing to depth k, right? Just like the example which we saw. And this is the mathematical way of writing it. You can just verify. Don't worry about this notation part, but this is how the intention is, right? Even if I collapse with bunch of guys below me, I'm not going to gain anything actually, okay? Right. So, and all of these we ask in a dominant strategy implementation, okay? So now what are some other properties? There are few other properties which we define something called strict contribution rationality. This ensures that a positive payoff to the node belonging to the winning chain. So somebody who is the part of the winning chain should get some positive payoff, because otherwise you don't feel excited about participating in the game itself actually, right? Which means you know that if your chain, the people whom you recruited or further recruited, if somebody spots the balloon, you'll definitely get some money, right? Then something called weak rationality. Here what we say is that we make this greater than equal to, and the winner definitely get the reward. Means like leaf node definitely get a reward, but all the parents may get or may not get, right? But there is no negative penalty. Nobody pays the price actually in participation. And of course, budget balance. Budget balance means the total amount of reward which you distribute over the network should not exceed your available funds, which was $40,000 in the previous case actually, right? So now the question becomes, what is possible? Can I achieve all of them? Can I come up with some kind of a reward scheme where all such nice properties is achievable? So that's where we talk about possibility and impossibility results actually. So what we show is, first sad news is that for any tree of having length more than 3, for any tree having the recruitment tree whose length is more than 3, no reward mechanism can simultaneously satisfy, Siebel proofness, collapse proofness, and contribution rationality, strict contribution rationality. You cannot design actually, okay? Now, so what is possible then? Tell me actually, right? So these are the somewhat possible mechanism. It says that for t greater than equal to 3, a mechanism which satisfy DSP, now instead of a strict contribution rationality, I make it weak contribution rationality and everything else is same. Then it says that is possible, but in which case there is only one mechanism which is called winner takes all mechanism. And what is winner takes all mechanism? Which means you just give the money to the leaf node, nobody else get any money. That's the only possible mechanism which, which has all these properties, right? Which means the guy who spots the balloon gets the reward, gets the money, no one else gets any other money actually. That's the only possible mechanism which will satisfy all these property, and of course this SCR will become WCR actually, right? But that's not a good mechanism though, actually. And what's the incentive for the other people who, there is no incentive for me to expand the network actually, right? A network itself won't get expanded. Okay, so now what are the ways out having these two news, right? Sad news. One possible way out is you relax the equilibrium concept and go into the Nash implementation rather than the dominant strategy. So there was a paper by Babiov et al. And which appeared in ACM EC conference 2012. They ventured into this particular line of work actually, right? But we took a slightly different stand. What we said is, can we relax the properties and still keep the equilibrium concept as dominant strategy? And what do you mean by relax the properties? It's okay, fine, you create the fake nodes, you game the system, but there is a limit to it actually. There is a method to madness, right? You won't be able to gain beyond a limit actually. That's what we call as a epsilon downstream Sybil proofness, okay? So what does it mean? So look at these equations. So in the previous equation, we had that left-hand side, there was no this 1 plus epsilon factor, okay? Here there is a 1 plus epsilon factor actually. So if I cheat, if I add my fake nodes, this is the reward after adding the fake nodes. This is the reward before adding the fake nodes, okay? So by adding the fake node, I cannot bump up my total money more than 1 plus epsilon factor of the money which I was getting earlier, right? This is our definition. So this is what we are saying, that it's like in bounded way you can game the system actually. So I say, okay, fine, design a scheme where people can game the system, but there is a limit to it actually. And is it possible? How much time? Okay, fine. So now the question is, can we design a mechanism with bounded Sybil attack? The answer is yes. Okay, so what is the possibility? Research says for all epsilon greater than 0, there exists a mechanism that is epsilon DSP, CP, BB, and SCR. Okay, all of the previous property goes through, and this is the mechanism. What is the mechanism? That you give the leaf node, okay, 1 minus delta times the total money available to you, where delta comes as per this ratio, and everybody else you give as the delta fraction to the previous node actually. Start with the leaf node, give the leaf node this fraction, and everybody else you keep giving the delta fraction, where delta can be any number by this chosen ratio. And epsilon is your design parameter, your choice actually, whatever you want to design, right? Okay, so so this is the quick summary of all the results. Let me not get into that. But before giving you the final result, here are two more property we want to define. Something called incentive for task forwarding. So there is something called strict contribution rationality. We say that a node in the winning chain gets at least delta fraction of her successor. Okay, then we call that this mechanism is a strict contribution rational. Okay, means like I should get at least delta fraction of my successor. Earlier we were talking the other way around actually. This we are talking that somebody who recruited me, it should not happen that I get much less amount actually, I get peanut. That is also not good, because then I won't put in effort to search the balloon, I'll just instead recruit actually, because that is more beneficial. And then winner's gamma security, it says that payoff to the winning node is at least gamma fraction of the total available budget. So these are the two additional properties which we have defined, and if you do so, then what we say is that this is the picture, this is how it looks like. So this becomes your design parameter, epsilon, gamma, and delta, okay? And in this picture, whatever is the shaded region, this shaded region tells you the combinations of this parameter, at which if you tune your design parameter such that your total cost of operations will be the least possible cost. Because ultimately the goal of a planner, if I am the planner, my goal is what values of epsilon, delta, and gamma I should set so that my total cost of operation is the minimum actually, okay? So in this mechanism, what we can say is that MIT mechanism, the original mechanism where they were giving half, that sits somewhere here actually, okay? For which gamma security is half. The leaf node get at least half of the budget actually, okay? And epsilon is 1. Okay, which means the moment you put epsilon equal to 1, you can, by faking, you can at most get twice the wealth of what you would have gotten earlier, right? In an MIT scheme, if I keep on faking, I make the infinite length chain, I can at most double my wealth actually. So that's why MIT mechanism sits here, and this WTA sits on this plane, and this is the general space actually, right? So this was our result, and I think the clock is suggesting me to stop. Maybe I'll just stop with this summary and future direction.
Any questions? Okay.
Apart from like the Sybil and the node collapse issues, what is to prevent me from just lying? You tell me you saw the balloon, I just say I saw the balloon and I feed up.
Yeah. So, okay, good question. So lying means we assume, which I did not go into the detail, that what happens, the central planner actually, for example, in this case of a balloon, the central planner, they have the mechanism by which the moment you tell me the latitude and longitude of a balloon, I can have a mechanism within almost zero time or near real time, I can verify whether you are lying or not lying actually. I mean, that's the assumption here actually, okay?
But in reality, first of all, these guys had to go ahead and do the recruitment in ahead of time. Is that how it worked?
Yeah, okay, so what happened, this talk was, for example, we started with this DARPA balloon challenge as the motivation, but then we eventually took off in terms of, entire design problems for those looking problem, DARPA looking problem. But if you ask me what happened in DARPA challenge actually, yes, so DARPA opened this challenge on particular so-and-so date, and various universities in US were invited to participate, and they are free to do whatever they want. So this particular MIT Media Lab, they through web, they started recruiting actually. So there was a portal in which they invite a bunch of the guys. Then once you accept the invitation, immediately you can invite your friend actually. The moment you send the invitation, everything gets registered in a server actually. So this entire tree or graph, they store actually. Every user is issued a unique ID. Right? That's a different issue that in practice, they had to do, if you read that paper, science paper, which I mentioned, they had to do a lot more data analytics part in order to mention that whether this location is fake location or, not non-fake location. So what happens is, if there is a location which is quite genuine location, then many of the people who get recruited from that area, most of them will report it. It's very likely actually. Right? So there was sophisticated module which is called outlier detection technique, by which the MIT Media team, by the way, this within 36 hours they completed this entire challenge, if I remember correct, and not even 36 hours. I think it was less than 24 hours. Okay, they spotted all the 10 balloons, and then they employed lots of sophisticated data analytic techniques in order to disqualify some of the people who were bluffing. They were able to spot that. So of course, all these kind of analysis and paralysis is post-success of this MIT, this scheme actually. Probably while designing that time, they themselves, probably just, it's like more of empirical, right? They thought like, how do you start actually, right?
So sort of related to that is my second question. So the chains that I am aware of, they tend to be somewhat short and very binary. Like if you know some other scientist who can help solve this open problem, then you contact that person, and if that person solves it, you add them as a co-author. If I'm running a car driver service, somebody asks me for a driver or a car, I don't have it, I pass it along.
Sure.
And they tend to be either zero reward or small reward. This kind of balloon with long chains, where is there in reality?
So I think your question is, in practice, do you see very long chain length or not?
And do you ever see some sort of sliding scale reward reference?
See the problem. So I'm not saying that in many of these kind of recruitment network, you will see the depth of the tree to be very large. You may not actually, but because of some of these Sybil attack kind of possibilities actually, people may create their Sybil attacks, and you may start seeing very long chain. Otherwise, if you look at very simple principle, if you go by very simple 6 degrees of separation, by and large, you don't hope to see very, very long chain in general, right? I mean, at a very layman's level, right? Actually, which I agree, right? And in fact, in that MIT scheme, they tells all the description of this data set, what was the average length of the tree, how many nodes participated and all actually. Right?
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
One of the major rewards that a person gets in crowdsourced experiment is mainly that of a cognitive reward, and that's an ego booster, right?
Right.
Here you're thinking of having a mechanism design where you monetarily bias the person and things. Do you think it could negatively bias a person as well if you bring in the monetary part? As opposed to, let's say, Stack Exchange, Quora kind of forums.
Correct.
If people just like that come and contribute massively, right? What kind of mechanism designs would work there? First question. Second question is this biasing?
Yeah, see, basically, for example, in the Quora kind of forum, so I don't see, I'm not too much aware, but I feel there is nothing like monetary rewards, right? It is more of a, like people trying to help each other actually, and as you rightly said, it is more of, prestige and pride actually. But if you look, there is something called notion of badge and something called notion of a star, and how many people do upvote and downvote actually your answer, and how many times your answer is showing up, in the top rating list actually. So in some sense, as you rightly said, it depends on the setting actually. In those kind of a setting, probably because those are very ongoing kind of a system, right? They are not like today it started and today it ended. This is a very time-bound mission actually, right? The moment you spot the 10 balloon, show is over actually. Whereas this Quora kind of a thing, they are perennial, like will going on. Right? So there what happens is you look for more of a long-term kind of, incentive that over the past 1 year, I want to build my credibility over the network actually. So probably I think it has to be seen by case-to-case basis and application to application. It may differ actually. That's what I can think of, right?
Last question.
Yeah, I missed something in the definition of collapse proofness. So
Sure.
in the top-down, the top-down geometric scheme you suggested, so if I get $1,000 and you're my descendant and you would get $500, if we merged then and split the money equally, you would be happy, but I would not be happy.
No, so that's a good point. So there is,
I let you merge with me.
sure. So the way we define the top-down scheme is slightly different actually. It is not just you start with 1,000, 10,000 by 2. So, okay, let me just go back to this scheme. So this is the scheme actually. So you give, so there are two numbers here. One is called D, another is called T actually. So T is the length of the winning chain. For example, okay, in this case, let me say 1, 2, 3, 4. So the winning chain length is 4. Okay. So the reward which is given, so this is how we define our top-down scheme actually. Right. So if the number of nodes in the winning chain is T, the node at the depth D gets this much money, right? Can you see that? So if I collapse, so suppose there are 3 nodes, A, B, C, right? If they collapse, the T will be different actually. The new T will be just 2.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Let's thank the speaker.